Sims, let's go. Hello everyone, it's your girl Miracle Sims and you're watching the GSL Talk Show. Tonight we're going to be chatting with Miss Darlene Martin and she's going to show us how to stay in a 35-year marriage. So stay tuned. Oh baby, chat chill, Miracle Sims, let's go. Miracle Sims, let's go. But I'm not the type of girl that goes. Yeah, it's a miracle, baby. Shot chill. Miracle Sims, let's go. Welcome back to the GSL Talk Show. I'm here with Miss Darlene Martin. How you doing?
Good, great. Thank you. Hello, everybody.
Yes. Welcome to the GSL Talk Show. I know it's your first time with us and everything like that. So can you tell us where you're from and a little bit about yourself?
I was born in Mississippi, but I'm pretty much from California. Grew up in Stockton. I live in Elk Grove, which is Sacramento County now. Been here like most of my life. I think we moved to Cali from Mississippi when I was like 7 years old. So Cali is pretty much what I know, although I've gone back and forth to visit quite a lot of times. I'm married for 35 years. We have 4 adult children and tons of grandchildren. Yeah. So my husband and I are both retired now, which we're so happy to be retired. So just enjoying the grand family, trying to go on a trip or 2 here and there and just enjoy life right now. And I'm a new author.
Okay.
I'm a new author of a book called Forever Love. This is what it looks like. And this is one of my goals and it's also my purpose. God had put in my vision quite some time ago, and I was kind of running from it, but to share my story as a testament to others, of a 35-year marriage, what it looks like, how imperfect it is and was, and how we got through it with faith and God and believing in each other and fighting for it, although we went through a lot of different problems with the family dynamic, blending 2 families, baggage that we bring to the table. We all bring some baggage, whether it's from, childhood, prior relationship, or what have you. And, just trying to get through that. Communication, which is very, very important. Well, I found that, communication, you could be communicating, but are you hearing each other? Are you comprehending what the other person is trying to say? So I talk about that in my book. Infidelity, how depending on the circumstances, it doesn't have to be a deal breaker. So you can work that out through therapy. So that's one of our things that we had implemented into our lives as well, is therapy. It's a good thing. Some people run away from it, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with therapy, or even talking to a mentor or pastor or someone that you trust is outside of your family, and because you need to see yourself. Sometimes we don't like looking at us, so we have to hold ourselves accountable. And I have a really nice chapter in there about the infidelity part, how my husband held himself accountable. And, he wanted to, he apologized and stuff like that, but he really held himself accountable. And I think that's what helped me heal. It's because you have to heal, because betrayal is nothing nice. And, but we did get through it with prayer and therapy, and friends or whoever we could reach out to or reached out to us, So I talk about a lot of that in my book. It's a short read, so that it's not a novel on anything, but it's like dropping some gems in there, because I just want to help others. I want to be a beacon of light and hope to others. Maybe they can read something and say, oh, okay, this is how they deal with it. Maybe we should do this or we should do that. Some tools, that you could use maybe.
Yeah. Awesome. I mean, hey, it sounds like we had a lot of great, things to talk about today. I mean, because honestly, we definitely need to hear, about especially happy marriages and right marriages
Mhm.
that last and things like that. I mean, especially in this world where people are looking at marriage negatively and hey,
Right.
there's no reason to get married. It's just a piece of paper, all that different type of stuff that they say. So
Exactly.
it's so good to, hear about 35 years and hear about, this beautiful growing family and
Uh-huh.
things of that nature, even in spite of right the ups and downs and stuff. And I think that's good too to talk about the ups and downs and not pretend like everything's perfect and stuff like
Absolutely.
that. And so I could, sit here and just, take notes all day. I'm just 8 years in on a marriage myself. So, I
Oh,
mean, look, 35,
congratulations.
thank
That's a long
you.
time too.
Yes, it's a blessing. And so,
Mhm.
it's always good to, to hear the wisdom and you're sharing the wisdom and whatnot as well. So there's a lot of good stuff to talk about here. I know you were saying that you were running away from, I guess your calling and gift of
Mhm.
writing. Why was
Yeah.
that?
You know what? Um, when I would started writing a book, it was therapy for me when I
Mm-hmm.
started writing the book. And so I think it taught me that's why I was running away from it. Um, I wanted to write the book, and God kept telling me to write the book. And I'm thinking, well, do I really want to share my story? Do I
Mm-hmm.
really want to put it out there? And then my husband, I had to talk to him about it. Obviously, I can't just write a book and he's in it and we're talking and I don't inform him and consult him about it and see what his opinion was. So
Mm-hmm.
I had to do that. So I was going back and forth on what he's gonna think, just things like that. And then um it's like when you're writing, it brings back everything like from what happened, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like therapy. So I would put the book down a lot, my
Mm-hmm.
manuscript, my writing. I would put it down a lot, pick it back up, put it down. I mean, after months went by, I kept doing that. So I said, okay, you're retired. It's not no excuse. God keep telling you that's what He wants you to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, if God's in it, I'm gonna do it. He's got me.
Mm-hmm.
And I just
Mm-hmm.
said, okay, I'm gonna finish this book and share it like He wants me to do. Um, so that's why I kept putting it back, pinning it down. And like I said, I call it running because I knew what
Mm-hmm.
He wanted me to do all along. And I kept
Mm-hmm.
making those type of excuses, I guess.
Mm-hmm. I understand. Look, it's been a little bit like Jonah. It's okay. Everybody can
Yeah.
do that every now and then. I don't want to do it, or maybe you do want to do it, but then you're like, asking yourself all the questions like you said.
Right.
That's interesting. Actually, it made me think about something, but now I don't know. It kind of went away from my mind, so I guess, oh well. If it comes back to me, I'll ask. But
Yeah.
okay. So I mean, obviously you got husband's approval. Oh yeah, I know what I was gonna ask now. So how does it feel like when you held your book for the first time? Then, like
Oh
all
my God,
completed, you held it.
it felt great. It
Yeah.
was something that I accomplished that I didn't know if I could or if I would. I
Mhm.
knew someday I would do it, but it felt so rewarding. And now that I'm getting some feedback from people, it's feeling even more rewarding.
Mm.
People asking me how did I, you know, you didn't feel embarrassed about putting your story up there, opening your book to the world or whatever. I was like, no,
Mm.
I didn't. That's something you overcome. I
Mhm.
prayed about it, and God was like, "No, this is to help others." And
Yeah.
not only did I want to do that, I'm a compassionate person anyway, and I love
Mhm.
helping and talking to people. So,
Mhm.
yeah,
Nice. So were you
yeah.
always a believer or
Yes. Oh my
yeah.
God. My family went to church when I was a kid 3 times a week. Like, we had and sometimes 2 or 3 times on Sundays in the morning, choir, usher. I've done
Mhm.
greeting, I've done the whole nine, singing in the choir, Bible study on Wednesdays. So then as
Mhm.
I got older, always had the I always had it instilled in me, right?
Mhm.
But sometimes I would go away from church and come back, go away because of church folks.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that could be some kind of that's been a problem. But a believer. I've always been, I always will be, and I figured out how I can have a personal relationship with God.
Mm-hmm.
He walks with me, talks with me. I pray to him every day. I have so much faith. You know, I'm one of those people that really walk by faith and not by sight. I mean, really, really.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've been a believer for all my life, basically, ever since I can remember.
That's good. That's good. That's good. I mean, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Like honestly, it's always good to hear people come to Jesus stories and stuff like that because everybody has different points of
Right.
view. Some come later in life. Some, like you said, like born and raised and stuff like
Uh-huh.
that. And so,
Yeah.
um, it's always good to for people to hear different points of view and perspectives and things like that. So,
Right.
when it comes to you and your husband, you want to tell us how you all met and all that good stuff, or do you just got to read it in the book?
I'll give you a little snippet of it. We
Okay.
met actually through my cousin. I have a cousin that was at the time married to his brother.
Oh.
And I had just come out of a relationship. I when I came to this marriage, I had two boys, and he had a daughter.
Mhm.
So then we ended up having a biological son together. But anyways, my cousin introduced us. I was over taking her some Avon, that I was selling Avon at the time. Although I was working full time, I always had a little side hustle.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she said, "Hey, he she was introducing him to me, but not face to face. She was kind of telling me about him, how he loves kids. He's a good guy. And his that's his car and his truck. He's a worker. Just all of that stuff. Well, I come out of a relationship where I didn't have any of that. I was kind of the sole provider. He didn't
Mhm.
really want to work. I was taking care of the children financially, although he took care of them in other ways. He
Mhm.
cooked and did certain things and kept them when I go to work. But
Mhm.
that's not what my dad taught me. A man is a provider.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
So yeah, that's how I met him, through selling Avon. He came, as I was giving the book to her and giving her stuff. He asked me if Avon had male cologne and stuff like that, and I was like, yeah, of
Mhm.
course. I'm thinking it's just another sale. Yeah, here you go. Buy something. I
Yeah.
wasn't even
Yeah.
on that. Yeah, I wasn't on that thought process because had told myself I wasn't ready. I had just gotten out of a relationship several months prior, not too much. I think
Mhm.
3 months. But that's how we met. Anyway, I found him to be a very nice guy, gentleman. All the stuff that I never experienced in a guy.
Mhm.
So that's how we met. We exchanged numbers when he came finally. She introduced us and she walked away and we talked a little bit. So he gave me his number, and even when I left, I was like, okay, whatever. I'm not probably won't hear from him. I'm not interested anyway.
Ah,
But it
little did you know.
was from there. Yeah. So
Oh.
he came over. I even changed my mind at one point because I was living in these apartments that had the intercom before you can come in the gate, and
Mhm.
I told him I wasn't going to open the gate. I'm having second thoughts, and so he was so charming. He talked me into letting them in.
Oh, persistence. Okay.
Yeah, so he was very persistent because I
Mhm.
kept going back and forth on, do I really want to do this?
Oh.
Yeah, because
Well,
of the
I guess it was worth it, 35
yeah,
years later.
right. And God
Oh.
really had to speak to me because I had gone through a not so good relationship, and he had to
Mm.
really speak to me because, it took me a few years to figure out though why I kept saying, Lord, when I'm going through these things that I shouldn't be going through, and he kept telling me, it's nobody's perfect. It's all
Mhm.
imperfect here. It's two imperfect people. He has
Mhm.
his issues, you have your issues and stuff, but I always thought, so we think, oh, it's a fairy tale. You get married, have a beautiful wedding, everything's going to be great. They're not going to
Mhm.
cheat on you. They're not going to do this. They're not going to do that. It's just going to be all gravy.
Mhm.
That's not how it is. He takes us through some things sometimes for a reason.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep, yep, and then also, the enemy is just working overtime as well, once
Right.
people
Right.
are in obedience and getting married and stuff, oh, that's when all the issues come
That's when all the
because
issues come.
so
Yeah.
Yeah, look, still kill and destroy. That's what he tried to do. But we know who's in control. All right, the Lord. So
Right.
okay, you all met and everything. You almost didn't give him a chance, but you did. Good stuff like
Yes.
that. You want to tell us a little bit about y'all's dating life or whatever? Like how was it dating, and was it
Well,
always a hesitancy or?
well, back then, I was 26, he was 33 because he's
Mm,
7 years older than I am.
mm,
But I loved to party. I was like a
mm.
party girl. I loved to go out. I worked, but when I got through working that week, I wanted to go have some fun. And he was the same way pretty much. We went out to decent places, but I loved to dance. So
Mm.
he loved to dance too, and probably not much as me, but he began to learn to dance better because I like to dance. But
Okay.
yeah, so our dating life is about as far as personally that and fishing because he's a fisherman,
Hmm.
and it's funny because one of or the dates that we went on it was fishing,
Oh.
believe it or not. And I was trying to be all cute. I remember my parents took us girls. It was just the two of us girls. But dad took us fishing sometimes. Well, he wouldn't let us touch anything or fish. He just took us out there. So I knew something
Mhm.
about it. But I
Yeah.
was trying to be cute and I almost slipped down on the rocks when we went. So he was right there to catch
Mm.
me, because I told him I'm kind of a little scary cat when it comes to rocks and being all in nature like that.
Mm.
But he caught me in, and it was like, oh wow, he just stopped me from falling.
Yeah. Oh, you
Yeah, so,
saved my life.
yeah, exactly. He knew what he was doing.
You're my knight in shining armor.
So yeah,
Oh.
got fishing, and then of course the kids basketball, football games, and we had them in sports, and stuff like that. Although that took a little turn, which is in my book too, with the rebellions of their dad. How we went
Mm.
through it because of rebellions of not having their father.
Mm.
Especially my oldest son. I think he was 9 and my youngest was 4 at the time. So my oldest had a really hard time and he rebelled and stuff. So he did some things that weren't proud of. So
Mm.
he started kind of going to the streets and things like that as he was getting older. So that's something else
Mm.
we had to pray about a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, mhm. But yeah, our dating life was good. We always went out somewhere. If we're not at a birthday party, we are at the club or at that's back in the day though.
Yeah.
We're at the club or somewhere, dancing or whatever. And games. He loved to go to the games, sports games and stuff like that. Um, the amusement parks. Just a beach. He took me to the beach on the he liked going to the beaches too. So and I love the water. So I think Half Moon Bay Beach in the Bay Area was our first date at the beach.
Oh, nice. Okay. I
Yeah.
guess
So
that's
we
one of those benefits of being in California.
yeah, that's true. And so he always wanted to know what I liked and he tried all of his heart to try to, give me to do what I liked. And I did the same thing too. So until things like you say, the enemy start coming in and he don't like seeing that. So he gave us some challenges, some
Mm.
obstacles to jump over, to figure out and all of that good stuff where it definitely tested our faith.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so how was the wedding then? What little highlights can you give us about that?
Oh, the wedding wasn't great.
It wasn't?
no, because
Mm.
unfortunately I planned a wedding,
Mhm.
had my colors and everything, picked my people, all of that. And then I became pregnant.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So when I became pregnant, my mom, rest in peace, my mom, I lost her a few months ago. But when I
Mm.
became pregnant, she kept telling me things like, oh, well, you don't need to walk down the aisle pregnant and this, and just very traditional. And I
Mm.
was always sickly with my pregnancies. Always. I never had a good one. I was one of those people that 5 months in, I was still getting sick, couldn't eat anything, and all of that. So along with that and hearing my mom and say that you shouldn't walk down an aisle like this. And, I kind of became a little depressed about it. I
Mm.
called off the wedding. Uh, so we end up going to Reno, which is, Reno, you probably have heard of Reno, Nevada, Vegas,
Mm.
how they have the
Yeah.
chapels where you just take everything, you dress up and take your little bouquet, and then you take some people, witnesses, and they dress up and take pictures. We had
Yeah.
a honeymoon suite afterwards, which is very nice.
Okay.
Yeah, with the hot tub and all that. So we made it happen, but I
Oh.
regretted that for a very long time.
Oh.
And
What?
so
It
I
sounds fun. No.
pardon?
I
Huh?
said it sounds fun. I mean, I know some people, do it
And
that way.
yeah, yeah. So we had a good time. We definitely had
Hmm.
a good time. I think I was 5 months maybe by the time so my little baby bump showed, but the dress to where I had it made, it didn't show too much. But I never had a wedding. I just felt like I kept saying maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years. I never had another wedding. I thought, well, you know what? It's not all about the wedding anyway.
Yeah.
I'll just spend this money on going on trips and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you could always look do one of those vow renewals on the beach, to do on a cruise or something. I don't know. Just throwing out ideas. 40-year anniversary. I don't know.
I probably won't. I just like to celebrate our anniversaries.
Oh,
We love to celebrate our anniversaries. Like we did our 30th on a cruise, and
hmm.
make it very special. We do make the
Mhm.
anniversary special, but I don't think there's a need to do renew our vows and all that stuff again.
Okay. Well, I think it's not. I mean, yeah, some people they love to do the whole Vegas and the
Right?
whole.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's just fine. It works, right? You're married,
Right.
and that's what matters.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right. It's not.
Awesome. Well, I mean, we got all these little highlights of what got you, to the point of look forever love, looks like, and things like that. So, I mean, what you want to tell us about the book then, and like kind of, I mean, I guess I kind of know the inspiration, but I mean, if you want to go deeper about the inspiration and, um, putting the pen to paper and more about your book.
Well, um, the writing experience was, I remember the reason why I had faith in myself to write too, because I remember in junior college, one of my teachers told me, you know what, you can write a book someday. I guess because she loved my essays and stuff, the way I was, because I'm what did she tell me? I don't know, a passion writer.
Mm,
And so she could see that. And so she said, you can write a book someday. And it always stuck with me, stuck with me, stuck with me. So then when all these experiences started coming up and I got the vision from God that I should write a book, I thought about that like, she always told me I can write a book. It was almost like
mm,
the seed was kind of set then. And then, as I went on, this is what came out of it. But writing a book, like I said, it was therapeutic. It was just like when you write in your journal, it was like it reopened my eyes to some things,
mm,
and a lot of things I think I was writing out of pain too,
mm,
because like you're going back all over everything that you went through when you're writing it. You're like
mm,
feeling it as well. So that was a challenge for me. I was feeling it, but and then there was one thing I was telling somebody the other day about forgiving, because when you forgive someone, forgiveness is for you, not the other person, as we all know that.
mhm,
But you have to forgive yourself every time those thoughts, you have to forgive that person every time the thought comes to your mind,
mm,
to really get it out. Because I remember I told a therapist one time, I was like, how do I just get rid of these thoughts that keep coming in my head?
mm,
She was like, she was saying something about hypnotic and all that. And I was like, well, I don't think I don't believe in that. She said,
mm,
well, that's probably the only way you could, but otherwise it's just how our brain works. It's always going to come back. But she said that I read another book, because I'm not just a writer, I love to read too. And it said that you have to, every time it comes to your head, to your mind, you have to block it. Like, okay, I'm not going to entertain that thought.
mm,
I'm really good at that now. It's like you can't entertain that thought, because if you
mm,
entertain the thought, it's still got it's going to get to you,
mhm,
perhaps. So especially the feelings that you don't want to feel, or the bad things that have happened or whatever. It's like I'm not
mhm,
going to entertain that thought. And I was like, okay, because I used to do that all the time. Every thought that came to my head, I would entertain it. Then I might go
mm,
tell him something about it, and then we get into a dispute about it, or argue about it or something like that. So I've gotten good through the years at not entertaining that thought, you know.
Mm,
So the book as I was writing it just made me elaborate on some things and reinforce some things in my head, like, you know, like it was really an awesome thing, you know. Like I was talking to a young lady the other day. She read my book, and she says she thanked me because she asked me some questions. She was like, well, if he she said if he had cheated more than once, or if he didn't hold himself accountable, which would be the one that you may have not kept the marriage going. I said, if he didn't hold himself accountable, because accountability is what helped me have remorse. I mean, he had remorse, but accountability is what made me believe in him again, that he wanted it. You know, he held
mm,
himself accountable, like he wanted the marriage. That's what showed me that. So she's like, so if he cheated twice, that would be you wouldn't, you know, or the accountability. I said the accountability because even if he had cheated twice or whatever, I still need the accountability. You know, like I talk in
mm,
my book, like he went up one time in church in front of everybody. And this is not the man that would do that at all
mm,
and ask for my forgiveness on the infidelity, you know. And
mm,
because we had split up for just a few months, you know, and I was going to church by myself. He said he wanted to come, and I was like, no, I don't want to see you there.
mm,
But he popped up anyway, and God was like, just just go with the flow, you know, don't fight it. So I was like, okay. So I that was very surprising to me when he went up and asked for forgiveness, and
mm,
the whole church. It was, in fact, it was I think it was an afternoon service, and he had me crying because um, I just kept holding on to. Well, I don't think you are remorseful. I don't think you're remorseful. I don't think you hate that you did it. I haven't gotten what I needed from you.
mm,
So that was that day right there where God showed me, don't keep fighting him from coming to church because you don't want to see him. And, you know, he said, let your guard down, let your
mm,
guards down. So that was a great moment, you know, of the
good.
accountability part. So, and that's a lot I want to share. That's what I want to share with people too. You know, accountability is everything, and
Mm,
communication, because if you don't, I have to hold myself accountable about some things too now. Yes, I treated him from coming out of that other relationship, and what I had gone through, I was treating him pretty bad.
mm,
I was stuck on the old relationship. I didn't trust men right off the bat. You know, I didn't trust him. He kept telling me, well, I'm not him. I'm not him. And I'm thinking of my, yeah, right. Okay. You know,
mm,
he always would tell me I'm not him. And so I had a lot, you know, I did some things that I shouldn't have done in the marriage. I never cheated back though. I never did, because I always thought, my mom always told me, respect yourself. Don't
mm,
go on what someone else does. You respect yourself. And I always had that in my heart. Like, I'm not gonna go do something just because he did it. I I respect myself too much for that,
mhm,
wholeheartedly, you know. So it wasn't in me to do that at all. And God was like, well, then it was like, well, if I do it and he do it, what is that gonna do? Two wrongs don't make it right.
yeah,
And we
that's right.
probably wouldn't have made it
That's
if
right.
that happened anyway, right?
Yeah.
So I think that was a big thing too. Like, I had to hold myself accountable. I wasn't perfect. I did
Mhm,
some things I shouldn't have too, you know. And
mm,
God told me one day, I sat down, I was reading the Bible. I forgot what scripture that was now, but I was reading the Bible, and it was telling me to look at myself. It was telling me
mm,
that I'm gonna renew his strength. That's the
mm,
words that came to my vision and my thoughts.
mm,
God said, I'm gonna renew his strength. And I'm like, wow. It's like these things were coming in my head and mind, like, wow. When I really experienced God, I think this um situation, what my husband and I went through in our marriage, made me gave me the most personal relationship with God that I ever had.
mm,
And I think that's what he wanted me to. He It's crazy. Like, God, enemy will use you too, but God
mhm,
also will, you know, he'll sit you down too and be like, look, you need to look at yourself about some things.
mhm.
because it
All
was
things work
always
together for the good. It turned it around. That negative thing turned around and into a positive, closer relationship, with him. So,
yes, and that's what happened. It's like I
mm,
will never ever forget that. He was just bam, bam, bringing things to my mind as I was reading the Bible. It was like, okay, it wasn't even about do I understand this. He was just giving it to me, like that, like
mm,
wow, and that's how we ended up actually getting back together after a few months because I had said you got to go. I said I need space. I
mm,
just need space.
yeah.
um my son, my youngest son, which is his biological one, over and he said, Mom, when are you guys getting back together? Because dad's miserable over there, he's doing this, he's doing that. And
Mm,
I said, I'm going to take my time when God tell me that
mm.
it's time. And so it's a few months.
Well, I mean, sometimes people need that shake or something to see that
They do.
this is how it can be.
Yes.
So.
Right. They do. They really do. Sometimes that what it takes. Like they can't see, sometimes our egos get in the way too, especially with
Hmm.
a lot of men, they're like egotistic about things, well, women too. Sometimes we're egotistic with things. So we have to get that ego out the way. It's not good for us.
That's true. That's true. I
Yeah.
mean, I know it's a recent development for me to start going to therapy. Technically, I started this year and well,
Good.
2024 and things of that nature. And it's been good. I feel like it's been a good addition to my life. So I guess I'm on team Jesus in therapy too. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
so what was it that I mean? Well, I know what brought y'all there, but like when did you guys start to go? And was it couples or just single therapy
It
sessions or?
it was both, really. It was a point where it was my friend, it's a first lady, and her husband. So we were going to their church at one point, but then I thought, well, we can't do this. It's because he didn't
Mm,
feel comfortable. He's like, that's your best friend. Like, no.
mm,
So then I forgot who told me about it, but it was a lady and a man that was another church, a Christian couple that I
mm,
was introduced to, and said that we should go there. That's the best thing that we could have done because they were the best out of everyone that talked to us.
mm,
They he talked to my husband first, and then the lady talked to me aside before
mm,
they brought us together.
mm,
Very appropriate, and stuff. And they one thing they told us is the communication for you guys. You're not communicating effectively,
mm,
and stuff like that. I remember they even gave us this pen session where they said, "Okay, you hold the pen, and when he's when she's done talking, she'll give you the pen back. When you get the pen, I want you to tell me what she said, what you got out of what she said." Oh Lord. I'm like, that's not even what I said. It's like that's not what I wasn't meaning it how you interpreted it. So even
mm,
just that is
mhm,
like is very important for couples because you have to. I mean, if you don't even know what the person is saying, that's one thing. Like you interpret it in a whole different way.
mhm,
So that communication part was big. So it was the couple thing that really worked for us. We've gone to another bishop at church earlier, way earlier, when we started having problems, to a bishop that my husband didn't think he was being fair either. It was always some excuse. But when we got to the couple, neither one of us knew them. That
mhm.
was the best thing that happened, I think, because you're not feeling like someone's taking sides or whatever.
Yeah, unbiased opinions, like, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm
So
glad
that,
it worked out and y'all was able to see like some of the things that needed to be worked on. And obviously it seems like you guys have been doing that, working on it. And I mean,
uh-huh.
here you are today, right? So,
Yeah, yeah. It's continuous work though.
oh
It's
yeah.
yeah, it's continuous work. Like I don't really care how long you've been married. It's continuous work, and it's a challenge. It's continued work, but I think we've come through a lot of deep challenges. So we're kind of there now where we're like we know how to communicate with each other. We know how to walk. We know not to even go there sometimes, and we express our feelings, and we have more like healthy debates now instead of arguments. We try not to argue, just healthy debates. We always say we're not going into the next day if we're mad at each other about something or upset. The next day is over. Good
Mm,
morning, babe. Good morning. I'm done. I don't want to
yeah.
even talk about it anymore. So we're both kind of at that stage now, because a
Mm,
lot of times it's not even worth it.
that's true. Oh, that's good. I'm glad to hear that it's getting better. How did he feel about the book when you said you wanted to write it, and then has he read it? And
He read it at first. Because I asked him, I remember when I finished it, I said, "Did you believe I was really going to write that book?" He said, "I knew you were going to write it one day. I just didn't know when." He said, "Yeah, I knew you were going to write it." He was a little concerned on what I was going to put in the book. I
mm-hmm,
did not write a tell-all book. I wrote a book, and I put things in it that my goal is to certain parts I want to say to help others. I want them to
mm-hmm,
bring something positive out of it, using you know, my authenticness with the bad and the good,
mm-hmm,
because that's the truth. Nothing's perfect, like some people try to display that it is. So I wanted to make sure that they knew that. And certain things that I shared is what I wanted to share and what he agreed with me sharing.
mm-hmm,
So I didn't want to bash him and he bashed me. I mean, bash him and this and that. Cause like one person read that book and she was like, "I loved how you stayed on the up and up with your book." She said you took the high road, and she said, "I like how you did it from start to finish." And that's what I wanted to do. I didn't
mm-hmm.
want it to be like a bashing men thing. And I mean, we hear enough of that, right?
Yes, we do.
Bashing women, bashing
Mm-hmm,
men. Oh, I hate him. He's no good. And, all this, that, and the other. I understand the feelings.
mm-hmm.
But I didn't want to, that's not what I wanted to put out there.
Yeah, it's good. No, I actually saw a quote earlier that was saying pretty much, this back and forth between men when we both need each other is just
Mm-hmm.
pointless at the end of the day sometimes. And I don't know. I mean, I guess I take it back to the Bible because it tells us, again, once Eve had to get, humbled by what she did, X, Y, and Z. I guess that's what, set things in motion that we're always going to be trying to, I guess, be in that position, and it's going to be that animosity between the two. So, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm thinking too deep to go back that far, but I mean, that's
Yeah.
where I
Yeah.
can give credit to.
Yeah. And I'm a pretty dominant person. So, all the one that have to be strong, the one that's, my mom asked my dad left when I was 12. They divorced and everything. I saw my mom work really, really hard. She was a strong woman. She taught us to
Mm-hmm.
be a strong, my sister and I, to be strong women and to be independent, not to have to ever depend on a man. If you do have one, that's good, but don't ever depend on one. So I had to really humble myself, because I took that on from her. So I was pretty dominant as well. So I had to learn myself to be humble. Um, some like to say submissive, and that's cool, but people take that submissiveness in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you could say that if that's how you want to look at it. But
Mm-hmm.
submissive and more humble to my husband, because that's how God had to check me too. And it's
Mm-hmm.
okay to be vulnerable. It's
Yeah.
okay to be humble. It's okay as women. We don't have to always be the strong person.
Mm-hmm.
um and I had to learn that as well. And and so he's like a very compassionate, he's a hugger, and he likes to, when he don't like us to be mad at each other, so he'll try to hug me or try to set the tone, and I'll be like, I'm not ready for that right now. I don't want to do it. I just, so I learned to say, you know what, just let it go, let him hug you. It's okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Yeah, sometimes we have to let that, put that guard down.
Uh, yes, we
And
do.
so
I was gonna say that's a whole class all by itself.
I know,
Oh
yeah,
man.
it really takes practice like everything else.
Mm.
And I think I've pretty much mastered it by now.
Good. Good. So I mean, it
Uh-huh.
sounds like you're getting great feedback about your book and everything like that. I mean,
Mhm.
I was gonna say, like, how has the impact been on your end, or just from at what you've seen thus far, or just overall, like with the release and everything like that? How's it going? How are people receiving it, and the
Yeah,
feedback
there
so far?
people receiving it really well. It's what struck me as interesting is like I have a cousin that's a pastor, right? And he read my book and we talked about it. So he asked me some questions, but the one question he asked me, I was kind of, well, no, I wasn't shocked because you have different pastors and different, it wasn't a bad thing. But
Mm-hmm.
he asked me, he said, how did you feel about putting your business out there about the infidelity? And I was like, well, isn't that what God wants us to do, to share our experiences and stuff to help others? I said,
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about what people think. I said, I'm doing what I'm called to do. It's my assignment.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get that in your mind and you're serious about being obedient to God, none of that, you don't care about any of that stuff. But coming
Mm-hmm.
from him, I was like, wow, I'm surprised he asked me that. But then again, I shouldn't be surprised for various reasons.
Oh Lord,
But that
girl,
was
this
the one
look.
that
Like
got
there's a
me.
whole nother conversation too. Because look, you already talked about the church folk thing, and then you said that, so it's
Right.
like
I'm like, I
we could
was
go on and on about this one.
Yeah, I was exactly. We sure can. And I said I was more shocked about that question than any other ones because I think coming from a pastor, um,
Mm-hmm.
some just are not as they will preach to you and everything, but some people don't practice what they preach. You know how they always
Mm-hmm.
say that they don't practice
Mm-hmm.
what they preach.
Yeah.
And so and that God, it's just time for God to work on them too. I'm not gonna bash them,
Mm-hmm.
but like you said, that can be a whole nother book conversation,
So look,
everything.
come on back and we'll talk about. We can go talk about it, yeah, because I think that's one of the issues, even with me doing this platform and everything like that. It's like eh, we sweep so much under the rug, and then we're so confused why the issues are there, or why
Right.
we're struggling, and we feel like we're the only ones that's going through this or that because nobody else is
Mhm.
talking about
Right.
these things. And so, like I said, I commend you. It seems like you've done it in a beautiful way that can be received. That you still honors your husband, different things of
Mhm.
that nature, and
Yeah.
just be honest about the situation as well, which is still good. And so,
Mhm.
and it sounds like it's being well received. So, hey, at the end of the day, God is doing what He's doing through you and your
Right.
testimony.
Yes, amen
Nothing
to
wrong
that,
with
huh? And I'm very excited about it. I just, I'm so excited. And I'm happy to be here and thank you. And I want to just do more, um, to get my book out there and also to counsel people. Like one thing about therapy, I've gone through several therapists, and some of the therapists, they learn from you. They don't, some
it.
of them, like these days, like they'll ask me some questions. I'm like, and then they're writing everything down, but I'm like, I don't feel like I'm getting anything from that person though. Like I'm being the therapist here, in my opinion. You got the paperwork and you got this and that, but I have the
Mhm.
experience and my God.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. I love it.
Yeah, so I like, yeah. So I mean, and I have to say that too, as I was, encouraging therapy. I do know there's some out there aren't the therapist for you, but you can
Mhm.
find someone. I prefer Christians,
Yeah.
um, but you can find some good therapists out there. It can't be the first one, and then you say, oh well, I'm not doing it anymore. You just have to search for the one that's a good fit for you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, is this the only book, or are you gonna work on more? Like, what should we
Oh my
expect? I
gosh, yeah.
mean,
I think that's something I'm thinking about, and I have so much in my head that I can write about. So I'm kind of letting that. I'm kind of working on this right now and letting that soak a little bit until
mhm,
I feel like okay, this is, and pray about it so I can feel like if I'm going to write another book, if I do, what it's going to be about, because
mhm.
I've got so much I can write about. Like so much, so many different things I can write about.
Caught the writing bug, y'all.
So I think I will though. It's just not. I'm gonna wait a little bit, but I think I will write again.
All right. Well, I mean, that sounds exciting. I mean, well, I don't want to belong your time, but I want you to, take some time to share with us anything else you would love to for us to know or things like that. Definitely let us know where can we find you and your books and stuff like that. And yes, the open floor for you.
Other than what I said, well, first of all, my book Forever Love is by Darlene Martin on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles. So it's a little purple book. It's a short read. So it's nothing that really big, but it's a good read from, and this is feedback from others. I'm not like boasting and bragging on myself, but I am proud of my work, and I'm proud that I was obedient to God first of all, and did what because I just feel like it's a lot more to come with this book, and that I want to do with it. And I just want to encourage people out there, kind of stay away from the, all of the if you're on TV, right? If you're on the social media, you're seeing this and you're seeing this. People are saying that. Focus on your relationship. Don't focus on that. If
Yeah.
you focus on that, it can really do some damage because people are ruthless
Mm,
with the negativity of it and all of
mm,
that stuff. That doesn't have to
mhm.
apply to you. Stay
Yeah.
laser focused on your marriage or your relationship, whatever it may be. Stay laser focused on that.
Mhm.
Pray to God, your higher power, whatever you do, that He will reveal to you how to work on your relationship. Don't
Mm,
don't look at others. Be like a tunnel vision, because especially young people. Because young people, I'm 61, so young people, I don't know, 40 and down, maybe some 50s, because everybody has a different age bracket that comes with wisdom and experience. I know some 40 something year olds that's got more
mhm.
mature than some 60 or 50. So, but yeah, I would say just focus on your relationship only. It's not like anyone else, just like you're not like anyone else. God put us
Mm,
here for to be our own individual selves.
yeah.
Focus on that. You may need to get some therapy for yourself
Mm,
first, and then come together. Come sometimes one person may not be ready for therapy.
mm,
Don't force them.
mm,
Do it for yourself then, and see
yeah.
what how that can work. I did
Mm,
that too, and
mhm.
pray about the other person, or just manifest that that person someday gonna want to follow you and get it.
Mm,
Get some therapy, because when you're trying to push and force things on people, that just doesn't work. I mean, I'm saying all of this from experience. I'm not making it up. I'm saying it because I know.
mm,
So the focus on your relationship, and if you love each other, you're most likely going to fight for it.
mm,
Sometimes you find in marriages and relationships that one love the person and the other one really doesn't. You also
mm,
have to figure that out too. So I'm not saying make it work on, you have to know if it's worth it. Like if it's your relationship is worth fighting for. You have to know that.
mm, mhm,
Sometimes, God might tell you to walk away. I don't know. So, and then especially physical abuse,
mm,
that's not love. Don't ever, ever, ever um, stay in a relationship because of physical abuse. I've never really been in a physical abusive relationship.
mm,
Um, my prior relationship, it was a lot of, well, I can't say on my part because I was a little wild back in the day. Like, don't call me out of my name because it's on.
mm. Okay,
But
Miss Darlene.
so just keeping it real, we grow out of things and stuff like that.
Mhm,
But way back in the day, but it shouldn't be any physical involvement at all. No one, that's not love. How if person hitting you or beating you or whatever,
mhm,
slapping you, whatever it may be, that's not love. That's
right,
control. That
mm,
person has a huge issue
mhm,
and probably have been abused before or something, but that's not for you to take it just because she or he have been abused and they want to keep the thing going. It's up to them to get some help.
mhm,
And until they get some help, you should not um, entertain that at all. No
mhm,
physical abuse. So that's what I want to say too, about the physical abuse. And also, my prayers are with all the relationships out there where you're trying to make it, and it can be hard. But I promise you, if you can work on it, just like what they say, a rose needs sunshine and rain. That's like
Mm-hmm.
relationships. You need that rain sometimes, and it's gonna shine if you
Mm-hmm.
work on it and keep it, nurtured. So that's
Amen.
all. That's what you're gonna have to do if you want it. You fight for it, go for it, and continue to be blessed. Um, that's all. That's what I have.
Amen. Well, I mean, I appreciate you coming by today, and you did tell us where to find your book. And so,
Yeah.
what about you and any websites or social media you want people to go to find you?
I'm on well, I'm on TikTok now, and I don't even know the my TikTok name. I thought I wrote it down somewhere, but I'm on TikTok. I think it's Darlene five something, and I'm
Okay.
also on. But Facebook is the main place that I'm on. It's Darlene Spivey hyphen Martin.
Okay.
Darlene Spivey, Spivey hyphen Martin, Martin. So some may have seen me on TikTok. I'll be on there, trying to do my little thing, although I'm new to it.
Okay.
My
All
grandson, I have grandkids on there, so they've
right.
been kind of teaching me and helping me
Oh,
get around on it.
that's
So,
awesome.
but I have been advertising my book on TikTok. So you probably, if you see my face, you might say, "Oh, okay, I've seen her."
Okay. Okay. Well, I
Yeah.
appreciate you stopping by and sharing your life and your story. I
Mhm.
pray that you have many blessings, and
Thank
yeah,
you.
you're
Thank
welcome back
you.
anytime.
Thank you. Yeah, just let me know.
All right.
And thank you so much. I enjoyed this.
You
And
good.
blessings on your marriage as well.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
You're
that.
welcome.
Thank you so much for watching the GSL Talk Show, and thank you to Miss Darlene for joining us tonight. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and check out Miss Darlene's book. All right. Have a good night.